So I wanted to talk about this briefly because it affects everyone, because it's not just happening in the UK, it's happening everywhere. And trust the Scots to talk about it because the Scots are as upset with the British as everyone else ought to be. But there is a growing trend among all employment groups in all Western countries where migrants are being brought in to do jobs and then they use that position to hire other migrants to fill those jobs. And sometimes you're contributing to this and have no idea that you're contributing to it. That's an anecdote that I'll get to in a moment. But statistically shows that, according to British statistics, that 27 there is a 27 to 1 ratio of migrants hired for every British youngster. Now the problem with this is it's happening in America too. We're hiring people with H-1B visas who then hire other people on H-1B visas to come and replace Americans. And so um, there's a the British growth in the British workforce is primarily fueled by migrants getting the jobs and not by British people getting the jobs. This stat here says 355% increase in migrants on the payroll. So this means that there's this whole group of Gen Z people who are not in school, they're not employed, they're not training, and so because you've heard the stories already about from women that men need to step it up and they're not applying themselves. Well, if you're getting flack and feedback that you're not wanted, that you've been weighed, measured, and found wanting, why would you continue to make the effort? And they're being locked out of, oh yeah, here it says locked out of the labor market. So this is fueled by government policy, tax cuts for businesses hiring people, attempts to save on your payroll, and then outsourcing. There's another big trend, and I see this mostly with young girls, of remote jobs. And there's a lot of women doing remote jobs because I've been wondering for a long time how they manage to travel all the time and who's paying for it. And I've learned that if they're not having somebody else pay for it, their dad, their boyfriend, or some pay pig that they've tricked into spending time with them, it's because they have a remote job and they can work from wherever they want. During quarantine, we actually caught a professor who was remote working, quote unquote, because she logged into a group meeting and forgot to change the background, and she was in Arches National Park, which is about 400 miles away from where she's supposed to be working. And that brought to light that she was using it as an extended vacation while we were supposed to be quarantining and not spreading disease. I'm not sure if she just didn't believe in the outbreak or if she just viewed it as a way to get paid to not work there. And despite the fact that our dean and the VPs have insisted that you need to work here, we still have professors who don't even live in the state who are drawing paychecks, who are possibly drawing multiple paychecks because they're teaching online here while they work somewhere else. So we have all these people who can now work from wherever they want, and that's creating a drain on jobs that could be filled by Americans as well. And with that, we get into the second thing. Hold on a second while I bring that up. So here's the web page for the BYU Brigham Young University Pathway Online Degree Program application page. And I'm just going to show that so I can share with you this anecdote. Last month, in the middle of April at the Highland Games, I had a reason to chat with one of the performers in one of the drum groups who works for BYU Pathway, who admitted to me that they help prepare people in foreign countries to do remote jobs and then essentially offsource those jobs from America to foreigners. So if you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and you're paying money to the church, you are unbeknowingly, perhaps also to church leadership, creating the means by which your children will suffer because you are helping people get degrees online to do remote jobs that your children are no longer being considered for because they're too expensive because they're in the United States. This 100% online program also leads, in many cases, although not all, to 100% online jobs, which means that you don't even have to come to America and be a migrant, that BYU is helping people in other countries get jobs with American employers. Now, I don't know, this gentleman is not super high up in the organization, but if that's true, this is an indemnification of the church's policy and program, that it is giving preferential treatment at the expense of members in America to those in foreign nations by giving them opportunities at the expense of the children of members who are paying for the programs. In essence, they are creating the means by which their children suffer. This is absolutely outrageous and should be outrageous to everyone that in the country where you live, you are no longer able to compete for the job because people in that country are helping people from other countries get preferential treatment to get the jobs. Forget your national origin or your race or anything, because this isn't preferential in the UK based on race. The UK has a relatively robust and diverse ethnic background because of its empire, where you can find people in the UK from disparate backgrounds, India, um, parts of Africa, because they were once part of the empire and they have now moved to England and are now descendants of British imperial citizens. So it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your country helping people in other countries get jobs instead of helping the people in the country that you live in. This is a government policy. It's also apparently a religious policy, and it is aberrant and abhorrent to give preferential treatment to strangers. C.S. Lewis wrote in the Screwtape Letters about the problem with having charity towards strangers you don't know while you hate people that are near you. And this is not an outright hatred, but it is a preferential treatment that is built in enmity. That if you give preferential treatment to people you don't know and have never met, your charity is largely imaginary, while your hatred for your fellow men in your own country is wholly real. Now, he didn't say country, but he's talking about family members. But the principle is the same, that if you are giving charitable treatment to foreigners you've never met and will never meet, while you are hurting your own, your charity is largely imaginary. And we see this in a lot of do-goody politics and do-goody religion and do-goody philanthropy, is that people ignore people they see every day in favor of those they will never meet, and then pat them on themselves and thump their chests and say what a good boy they are. And that's not how this works. If you are engaged in activities that directly, even though inadvertently, hurt people that you might meet on a daily basis, people who are already citizens of your own country, you are not the good guy. And that's all I've got to say about that. On a principled position here, you cannot really love people that you don't know, and you cannot really serve people that you've never met. And if you are serving people you've never met, while people that you are around you are struggling, then your charity is vanity. It is not charity. It is not a virtue. There are people in your street, in your neighborhood, in your congregation who need your help. And if you're ignoring them to go off and do philanthropy in foreign nations and with individuals that you will never meet, or if you are engaged in efforts to bring migrants to a country, but you are not doing anything to the same degree and effort and expense to help the people who are already there, then it's virtue signaling run amok. And there is no virtue in giving preferential treatment to one person over another group. That's called bigotry. And preferential treatment is, can't think of any instance where it's a virtue. So stop doing it. It's bullying, and it's not bully one bit. Anyway, Godspeed, good luck, and may God have mercy on our countries.